do I feel comfortable quitting my job is the same feel that I have for, do I feel comfortable with betting this much money? Because it's like, these are all bets that are in my head around the same kind of thing.
You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow your side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews-Okome. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. We are kicking off August with the first interview since I went on maternity leave. And today we are back with a check-in with our entrepreneur in residence, Lisa Pegram. You guys were introduced to Lisa in July of 2019 in episode 155 to be exact. So if you haven't heard that, go back, give it a listen. Lisa is a data scientist that launched a cutting-edge home laser for melanated skin. She has built a career in analytics and is currently in pursuit of her PhD at Columbia, where she studies meta-cognition and data sciences. Lisa is the founder of Bell 51. Bell 51 is a company dedicated to the specific woes of Black and brown skin. Bell 51's Soleil laser is the first home laser therapy device that can achieve rapid clearing results at home for all skin types, particularly Black and brown tones for whom existing laser technology has, until now, been ineffective or unsafe. At the time of our last conversation, she had launched her business, Bell 51, and was able to share her experiences with sales so far, that delicate balance of managing inventory on a high-end product, interfacing with customers and their questions, working with manufacturers, and more. At the end of the interview, she had goals to come back and give us updates on things like her new marketing approaches and all of that. So let's jump right in with Lisa and find out if she achieved her goals and the updates in her business since launching 1 year ago. So Lisa, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am happy and blessed and stressed.
I love that. Aren't we all? You know, the two can coexist, you guys. Like, when people are stressed, it doesn't mean they don't know they're blessed, all right? So we did not get to convene with you since our last chat. It's been a while. It's been since like November, right?
Yeah.
And we were supposed to check in before that, but we're checking in now. And it's been a year. It's been a year since Bell 51 launched. Now, today, I want to know what's going on. So last time we spoke, you were a full-time student at Columbia in a PhD program, data science, as well as managing your side hustle of Bell 51. So give us an update. What's happened since the last time we connected? Are you still doing both? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm still doing, everything's still the same. So I'm still doing the PhD program, doing my research, and then I'm still doing data science work full time, and I'm still doing the company. And I am hoping to give up one of them at some point. But we've done a lot. So I mean, in this past year, since the last time we talked, especially, we've gotten a new member who has joined the team, and she works part time, and she's a material science engineer who's actually going to UVA for her master's, grad student. And she's on the team helping us with the development of some of our new products. And we are taking classes and learning how to video edit. And we are trying to do more marketing and promotions and just trying to balance it all, and definitely have grown a lot as far as revenue goes. So I think that some of the things that we've the pros and cons and, you know, the things that we've learned from in the cons department have helped us to grow. So just still doing all of the things, trying to let one of them go.
Okay. Well, trying to let something go so you could focus more time on Bell 51?
Yes. Yeah. I want to be able to do that because I still, like I said, I still work full time in the data science, and that takes up a lot of time, especially with coronavirus. And so because the company is a health related company, so doing a lot of research in that department. And so it's like kind of taken away from my research and taken away from as much energy as I spend a lot of energy, spend a lot of hours per week working, period. So it's not like I'm not putting in normal hours, but I would love to put in, you know, my whole day
right.
on like Bell 51. So
Got it. Well, that's huge that you were able to hire somebody. The team is growing. I did not know that part. In addition, you have launched some amazing new products since we last spoke. Walk us through all the products Bell 51 now offers and what they each do.
So we have a microneedling tool, and I mean, microneedling is not like a new thing, but the fact that we're offering esthetician-grade devices that automatically do it. There's a lot of trial and error that comes along with the microneedling tools. And so it basically is an automated one. So you just kind of glide it over your skin and it does that for you. And we pick the two heads that go onto the microneedling tool. We pick the best ones that would work best on a lot of the skin issues that African American skin and brown skin deal with. So we have that one, and then we have also launched recently the serum that goes with that, but it's a good serum in general. So it's a black seed oil serum. It also has grapeseed oil. It also has some vitamin C for fading hyperpigmentation. It also has geranium oil. So these are all, the reason why I'm using these oils is because it helps with the JUA 85, which is the name of the microneedling tool. It helps it to glide over the skin easily, but then also it's anti-inflammatory. So any type of acne issues you have, eczema issues you have, basically can be, this serum can be used on it and really help to clear the skin and even the skin out. And then it also does stop a lot of the issues, and especially if you suffer from acne that's a result of like oils or buildup of the skin. This is actually one of the lighter oils that is antimicrobial. So it takes away that. So we have those two new products. And then we also have the first product that we launched, which is the Soleil Laser for just hyperpigmentation in general. So the microneedling tool, I forgot to go into why it's good for you, but it's good for you because it gets rid of stretch marks. It produces collagen and reproduces collagen. And it's a way to get down to the deeper levels. So like I said, stretch marks, scarring, pitted scarring. So if you had like really bad acne at one point and you may have some kind of rough patches, it evens that out. And then it does also treat some hyperpigmentation and some of the other, larger pores, other things like that, wrinkles. So it is a all-encompassing tool. So I love all of them so far.
Yeah.
Very excited.
And what was the process like of bringing these new products to market?
Research and, making sure that, so, I mean, it's always research, right? So, but it's also finding the people who can make your dream come to, fruition. So, I mean, I'm dealing with 3 different manufacturers for these different products. I'm not going through the same people because, they don't all specialize in the same thing. So finding someone who could create the serum that I actually really wanted, and then finding someone who had, the type of engineers and manufacturers who could produce like the different needle types that I wanted for the JUA 85 device. And so it's just, I think finding those people was like the hardest step, and then talking them through your designs. I am a key like advocate for Fiverr. A reason why, because I'm able to get like a lot of good packaging design from a lot of the highly rated and top rated people on the Fiverr network. So I was able to get a lot of my packaging and design done through Fiverr, and that was a great resource for me. And like I said, research for all the ingredients and all the things that I actually want to do. So I know that.
And making sure that they like actually work.
Yeah, make sure testing all that on myself and, giving them my sister and everyone in my family. So, it's just like there's the steps and, making sure that if this device that I found is FDA cleared, that's always an issue. That's the number one. And people will always be like, is this FDA cleared? I'm like, yes, it is. Like I made sure, so that's also something we'll probably talk about it later, but it's like a huge deal. This FDA clearance is like a big, big thing. Any new product you get,
Right. So at what stage does that even happen? We can get into it a bit now. I mean, I'm assuming that when you develop something, you need to see your prototype, right? And then you need to send it back, or at least say, here are all the ways I want it improved. So how many cycles of that do you go through before you are able to say, okay, now this I can bring to market and I can send off for the FDA to approve it? Is that how it works?
Well, yeah, you have to do so. Like the FDA is kind of like, it's kind of like the man. So they're not really like, they don't help you conduct anything. You don't like send it to them and then they like go over it. You have to create.
Well, I mean, send it back to the manufacturer, but then at what point does the FDA approval come in?
Yeah, so you send it back to the manufacturer. You probably go through like 3 iterations at the minimum. They could go up to 5 between like the effectiveness of it, and then the packaging and design and of the actual device. So between those 2 things, there'll be like at least 3 to 5 back and forths, and then after that, then you have to either they have the FDA approval already on their side, depending upon whether they've sold this device or tried to sell it before. So they might have already gotten it. So in some cases, you might be lucky where you don't have to go through the process. But if you are trying to do it from scratch, then you have to document it. And there's like lots and lots of forms. It's very similar to like a patent process in the sense that you have to like document a whole bunch. So I'm actually in the middle of doing that process now for the hair removal laser that I am in the middle of working on, which I haven't talked about yet. But it's from scratch, and basically I'll have to do clinical trials and all of that, and it's super expensive. So yes, that's just one part of it.
Now, how, if at all, has adding all of these new products affected revenue? Has it increased because you have more offerings? I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, I was scared to do it at first because I was like, you need to focus on, because you always hear, you focus on what you have first, see if you can get that to where you want to go before you start adding stuff. But actually adding stuff has increased the revenue because people have choices. A laser in general is very scary to a lot of people. So they're just like, how about something that's like not that? So I was glad that I, gave an opportunity or option for people to try another type of skin device that works for hyperpigmentation and also helps with a lot of other issues. So I'm glad that, they overlap in some cases, and then there's a lot more that the microneedling tool can help with. So I'm, thankful that, it's kind of like I'm offering some new useful devices in new ways. So it definitely did help to increase the revenue because it's filling in that gap.
Oh, good. And then as it relates to inventory, one of the things we talked about last time is that delicate balance between when you have a premium product, between having products on hand and waiting to order because they're expensive, right? So how are you now balancing with 3 products?
So it is. So I ordered a crazy amount of my serum, so I'm stocked up with that. And I should be for a little while. But as far as my main 2 devices, it has been like a crazy, crazy balancing act. Like I don't know. So I keep underestimating myself at times as well. So it's like, who wants to sit with like 1 million pieces of your product and then like not sell, but then who also wants to miss out on a whole bunch of sales because people want the product to be in stock. So, I mean, trying to get around that hump is, I offer pre-ordering. So if I sell out and I'm waiting for the new stuff to come, then I, allow people to pre-order it before it gets here. The issue that comes along with that is that when the actual product arrives, it's like basically 75% sold out. So it's just, I'm really still getting the hang of it and trying to have more faith. I think it's just having more faith in myself at a certain point. It's like realizing that you need to scale up and you need to order double what you were ordering before. And that's a scary concept to, if you have something in stock and you're spending like a lot of money for each piece. It's not like I'm buying.
What's a typical order like? The amount rise. So is it like 5,000 and you're like, it's scary to think of putting down 10 or 15?
No. Like at this point, it's closer to 10,000. And it's like, okay, like what you really need to be doing is putting $20,000 down. But I don't, it's so scary. So it's just like, I don't want to do that.
But you got it. I mean, yes, you do have to have that. But I get it. I trust me, I have not, put down 20,000 just like that on a product for my business yet. So it is, I definitely understand that. And I could see it's one of those bets that, I mean, You're there. You're there. And excuse me, y'all, I'm having a mid-interview pep talk with my best friend.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, though. At what stage do you bet bigger?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think it will take for you to feel comfortable betting that big?
Okay, so I'm thinking a few thoughts. One of them being that I wanted to have a monthly recurring revenue that was consistent, that was equivalent to my salary, per recommendations from Nikayla. But also, I also wanted to make sure that this was, so it's kind of like the same feel. It's like, do I feel comfortable quitting my job? Is the same feel that I have for, do I feel comfortable with betting this much money? Because it's like, these are all bets that are in my head around the same kind of thing. So I don't know in order to do that, I think I just need maybe like 1 or 2 more months of this. It's been 4 months and I'm so scared of this bubble, this coronavirus pandemic bubble, where I feel like people, their eyes are glued in to, social media, or, people are open to trying things, so I'm just kind of fearful because I don't want to bet on something that could be, a conditional. So if I could, if coronavirus, it's like, if coronavirus ends, then, and, I don't know, it's just so scary. And I don't know.
No, I get it. And only you, who are the head of the business, the founder, the CEO, only you can make that call. It's interesting that you mentioned coronavirus. So how has the pandemic affected your business?
It's affected it really well, because I'm able to interact with people. People are really want to have these one-on-one meetings, talk to me. We talk on DM all the time. I talk to my customers very often. And it's like, I'm able to build these relationships because people are not super busy. So they have the time to kind of read up on your product. They're just kind of glued into social media, glued into a lot of the, the things that you put out there, versus before, when it would just kind of breeze over their heads, because it's just like, I have too much to do. I'm at home. I have and I want to spend my free time with my friends. But at this point, it's like everybody kind of has some time where they're just perusing the internet, or, looking up things. So I love that I'm getting some more organic growth, and there's word of mouth, and I get to interact with my customers more. So e-commerce specifically for me has not been a bad thing during this pandemic. But I do worry that's why I'm worried, because I feel like, oh, what if, this ends, and, it's just having faith. It's just having faith. So it's just obviously a struggle of mine, is having that security that, everything will remain.
I mean, it's smart to wonder what's going to happen. Will we be in a recession? Will people stop purchasing things? What does that look like? Everyone has to kind of be cautious and make sure they have some cash. They have some cash, some liquid, and some savings. Moving into the future. At the same time, it is so fortunate that you can be one of the businesses that are seeing an increase in business during a global pandemic, because not everyone is able to see that same jump. So some businesses are shutting down, and it's so scary. And then when you do see business, you're like, is this a fluke? Is this going to last? So I completely get you. And I think doing what you're doing, being cautious, researching, and just watching the trends before you make any sudden moves is the best thing you can do.
I was going to say something else about that too, is that I was a little scared because I've been putting so much money into this other product. So the hair removal laser that I'm trying to build.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I've been putting a house down payment on this. I have 3 engineers who are working on this in China, full time. And they're developing this, and it is scary to be building this whole product from scratch. Right. And it's you just don't know if it's gonna pan out well at the end. So then I'm over here doing well in the business, but it's also scary because it's so should I bet on over here too? My security blanket, should I use that? So yeah. So both of those things are
right. I'm so proud of you, but I'm also so excited because yes, I would love to be able to do at home laser removal that works for us. I know there's some products on the market, but the people I see reviewing it are not as dark as me, and I'm just not about to try that.
They always say dark skin, and then you see, and you're like,
and I'm like, wait, I'm looking at the YouTube reviews, waiting to see, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. So I think it's going to be so worth it. I will be your first customer, but I know it's also very scary. It's needed, though. It's needed, and this is why I love talking to you and featuring you as an entrepreneur in residence, because we don't often get to see just the sacrifice and the investment that it takes to bring a premium physical product, beauty product, technology product to life. What's the timeline on something like that? Like, what phases are you going through?
So we're still engineering everything at this point. So there's like circuitry, because we have a touch screen on it. I want it to be wireless. I'm like putting everything into this. I'm like, I need it so that people can just like, they just charge it. And then, so I have like all these things that I want. And so every aspect requires, maybe like a week or two. Some of them are advanced products, because I'm taking this huge laser that is usually used in a dermatologist's offices and shrinking it down to a small size. There's physics about that has to be addressed. So like getting, there's heat produced by it, for example, and getting the radiator size on the laser to be, to radiate the heat that comes off of the laser in such a small device. So there's all types of things that happen in developing this, that issues you run into, or so it's just, by the end of, it should be done. It was supposed to originally be done by the end of August. It was started in early June, so it's going to be a 3-month project. And then I think it's probably going to be pushed out to the end of September. And it was never even going to go to market until next year. I've been telling everybody next year, because I still have to go through the FDA process where, they do the testing, and I have to prove that this is either similar to another product that's on the market, meaning like you guys have already approved these other NDI hair removal lasers. Mine is very similar, or is this basically the same but smaller? But then I got to go through that, trying to convince the FDA that it's similar. But then I got to convince the patent office that it's different, because I kind of want to see if I can get a patent on this. So those are the two things that I'll be working on over the next year after September ends, and I hopefully have the product. Then I'll still be dealing with like the paperwork, essentially.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you sharing this with us, the Side Hustle Pro community. I know some people will be scared too, but when you see how much work goes into it, like there are not a lot of people who are going to invest tens of thousands of dollars to do what needs to be done to bring a product like this to market. Like you might have the idea, you might think it's cool, but when you see what goes into it, it really, really takes fortitude and money and time.
It does take money. And the thing is, though, like I'm not even scared, because like you're saying it, like someone reached out to me the other day, and this is just like a side note, but someone reached out to me the other day and was asking me for advice because they wanted to start their company, and I know you deal with this often. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want to tell me what his product was. He just was like, it's proprietary.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. I can't tell you.
I can't tell you what it is. And I'm like, because that's one thing you do learn is that, like, some people can take offense, because I don't take offense to it, but I do know that, you talk to the wrong person and they might think like, why would you think that I would steal your stuff? Like, I'm an honest person. But another thing is that it takes effort to get these things to happen. So it's like, I'm not going to, someone would have to start from the same position that I'm starting at.
They would have to drop what they're doing to say, okay, that idea is better. Let me go do that. And like, yeah.
Yeah. And also I have, there's an easy process. So the patent process, there's like the full patent process. But if you just want a patent pending, it's something you can do by yourself. So we're doing that now. So we're going to just do the patent pending process that lasts for a year. Before you can, so then you don't even have to go through the whole patent, big, huge patent process. You can just do a provisional patent first for a year.
Dropping keys. And you know what's interesting too about what you say, because I think there's also a school of thought, like I need to come up with something like completely different than anything you've ever seen. And that point about the FDA literally wants to see that it's similar to something else, to like put it in context, to also make sure it's safe and say, oh, this is already out there. So while we're focused on making something different, it actually is smarter to make something that's kind of already out there.
Yeah, it is. It is because, I mean, at least for FDA approval, because they, if you have something brand new, then that will cost you upwards of $1 million to get that on the market. Brand new. Yeah. Because they're like, what is this? Like, it can kill people. No. So they just like literally will not. You have to like show like a year of research and all types of things. So yeah, it's a hard process. So I'm hoping they will recognize that and not classify me.
Well, we'll keep our prayers up.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of processes, let's talk about the customer education piece. We always have to get back to this, especially now that you have more products. So we talked about how it can be a learning curve for people to understand what, this laser does or what the microneedling tool does. How are you now approaching helping people to get up to speed as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so I try to like put little notes in my like stories on Instagram about. I created a quiz on my webpage. I got a developer to create a skin tool quiz, which essentially people fill out what things they're dealing with, and then they get a device basically at the end that says like, well, they don't get the device, but they get the suggestion of what device to buy. For their skin problems. So it's like, are you pregnant right now? Are you, do you have hyperpigmentation? Are you concerned with stretch marks? Are you like, I just basically go through the gamut of questions of, are you on Accutane? Are you, anything that I could possibly think of that would be related to skin. And then it suggests which product of our two products they should use. And I also do these one-on-one sessions with people. It's a part of this, especially with the Soleil laser. So if they are interested, they can upgrade for like an extra like $20 and get a one-on-one session with me. And I don't really limit it. I don't know how scalable this is, and maybe it will be scalable at some point.
I can already tell you that one-on-one session needs to be like 100x. $20, girl.
No, because it's 15 minutes. Yeah. So it's only 15 minutes. So, I mean, I just, 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. I'm
I mean, this is valuable. You are, juggling a PhD, a full-time, like side gig, actual job. I mean, and so...
You're right. And then also said it's like probably not scalable. And I do YouTubes as well. Like, and then I do my live that I said I would do last time. I said, I'm going to do it, make sure I do it. So I've been doing it. It's like the summer's self-care series, like Sunday self-care series. So we do that where we talk about it and we answer questions there. But I think I've been trying to keep the lines of communication open so that people can ask me any questions they really have.
I do see that you're doing that. Hey guys, it's Nikayla here with a quick word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Skillshare. The online learning community is offering our listeners 2 months of free premium membership. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity with classes from Skillshare. Right now, Skillshare is such a great resource to have so you can stay inspired, express yourself, and connect to a community of creatives with fascinating classes on topics like how to start a business online, e-commerce essentials, email marketing, and so much more. You can also take non-business classes like drawing or writing, and that can be a great way to help manage stress, practice mindfulness, and feel connected to one another. I recently took a Skillshare class called Context is Key, Social Media Strategy in a Noisy Online World, and I just found it so valuable as a refresher on creating a channel-specific social media strategy for my brand. So as you can see, Skillshare offers classes designed for real life and all of the circumstances that come with it. Creative self-discovery and expression can settle your mind. I know it does for me. And spontaneous acts of creativity can help break up the routine of a day indoors. So Skillshare short classes are a perfect fit for that. And you'll create real projects and get the support of fellow creatives who provide encouragement, communication, and inspiration. So explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/sidehustlepro, where you'll get 2 free months of premium membership. That's 2 free months of premium membership at Skillshare.com/sidehustlepro. Now let's get into the marketing, because I see you doing your thing with marketing, going live, posting more. What are some of the changes you've implemented since we last spoke?
So I have been posting more. I try to post at least like once, twice a day. And then also I've been posting more videos of the content that I've been posting, because supposedly Instagram wants to, be different and wants to be, all about videos versus being about pictures anymore. So the algorithm picks up on videos, I guess, more than photos. So I've been trying to do that. I have been learning the Facebook Manager through a couple of courses, and trying to understand how, to run ads on both on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm trying to think of other marketing that I do. I mean, those are the main things that I can think of that I've been focusing my energies on right now. I think that's about it for now. Might come up with something else later. I think that's it.
You mentioned the last time we spoke that you wanted to create a weekly time to go live, show yourself using your laser plus the results. Have you done that? How's it going?
I do. So I go live. Like I said, I do this. So at first it was going to be a SelfCare Sunday, because I love Insecure. And I was like, oh, I love that idea. I'm going to do SelfCare Sundays too. And so I stole that and decided that I was going to do that every Sunday and have everyone. My grand scheme was that the people who have their devices would be using it at home. And if they were walking through it with me, then I'd be guiding them through it. It'd be like a one-on-one tutorial, and then they could ask me any questions. Hey, I'm running into this issue at this current moment. I don't know what setting to put it on, or I'm scared about this or whatever. So it was a way for them to walk through using their tools, but it also has been a way for me to kind of market, because a lot of people have joined who haven't used the products yet. And so they get to see me use it, and they not only see the results that I post from my use of them, but they also get to see it in live action and ask questions along the way. So it kind of saves me some time on the back end, because if people come to the SelfCare Sundays before they buy the product, then they kind of already know in advance. So, and I think I might continue it outside of summer, because I just wanted to see how it would go, and didn't want to commit to, unless I knew that people were I didn't want to just do it for myself, SelfCare Sundays by myself every Sunday. So, but I think I'll continue.
To the camera.
Yeah, talk to the camera, hey guys, it's me talking to me.
Hey, replay viewers.
Right? But I'm glad that people are tuning in. So then it's
are.
Now I can.
I've hopped on, and people are tuning in, and I hope you encourage others who are like, oh, will I be talking to myself? No, just go live. You'll be surprised by who joins, and the more you do it, the more people will join.
Yeah. At first it'll be a couple of people, and then eventually it'll get, more and more. When you become dependable, I think is when people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistency. And now the last time we talked, you talked about having two audiences, like those estheticians who are kind of trying to figure out how or if they can work this into their client care, and then also just direct to consumers. So are you still trying to serve both audiences? If so, how's that going?
I think it's going really well. So I started this I didn't even mention this before, but I also started another program, like an esthetician partnership program. And what it is that I reach out to estheticians who serve communities of color or of color themselves, and we work together. So will provide me with content. That's the agreement. Basically, they'll say, this is, the before and afters on my clients, and I provide them with a discount on our products. And so then we work with each other that way. So I can always, continuously show results to people who are interested, and then they can use the products on people who are maybe scared to do it on themselves, or, or just I'd rather just have a professional do it. So those are that's the kind of partnership it is. And they also have a link on my website where their companies are listed, their booking information is listed, and their portfolios are listed, their websites, everything. So you can book with them and, get anything done with them that you want, including Bell 51, using Bell 51 devices. So that's kind of something that we launched recently. And I think we have about 12 estheticians on the site, about 8 that are pending. They submit all of their esthetician certifications. So we have that stuff on file. And, they are, it's a dependable source for basically getting an esthetician of color, and it's listed state by state.
I love that. You're always thinking of, ways to expand and creative ways just to get your product in front of people. So have you seen that also results in more customers buying your product directly? Because, sometimes I go to the salon and they use something, and if I could purchase it online, I'm like, thank you. Thanks for the tip. I'm going to do this myself now.
Yeah. I think that, it's crazy because they're buying and they're also, reselling with their discount because I give them a discount. So I give them like a hefty discount. And so they're able to have it's basically like a reseller. Like they're able to have my products in their stores. So if somebody is interested, they can coach them through it as a professional. They can allow them to purchase it from them directly. And so I think, it works well for everyone. And that was my concern. I didn't want estheticians to feel like, a lot of them are working really hard and gotten these certifications, put in all these thousands of hours, and to think that I was just going to try to replace them totally. It's like dermatologists or do it at home. And I know that that's not the case. I know that there are people who can afford to go to an esthetician every week, and there are people who can afford to, get things done by professionals. So I'm not going to rule them out. I want to join forces with them. So, and I appreciate their input too. I think another facet of that is that this won't stop at laser hair removal. So any devices moving forward, they'll have their input and they'll be able to say these are the things that I notice that my customers are asking for or what I wish I had to be able to deal with these issues. So, they can help me keep an eye on the trends too.
I love that. And that thought process as well, because you're developing something that could, if you don't provide that context, be seen as threatening to a certain industry. But it's, and forgive me if this analogy is too basic, but it's kind of like you can buy makeup in stores, but it ain't the same as when that makeup, that professional makeup artist does your face, right? So, one does not threaten the other. And they can, in fact, support each other.
Definitely. And they have been supportive.
And then some people who are qualified, and you don't have to be super qualified to do your own makeup. We all buy our makeup and we love it. And it just supports each other when you want that, even that touch base where you can ask questions and you can get that, feedback on, should I do it like this and what have you.
Yeah. And everyone has their own tips and tricks too. So they just like makeup and, there are people who do it. And you're like, girl, your makeup looks so good. You didn't go to anybody. And then there's times where you have to go to somebody. So just like you said, it's just, it's dependent upon experience.
Right. And it's not an apples to apples comparison, you guys. So you don't need, you don't need some kind of qualification to use Bell 51 products. It's just saying that the industry of beauty and estheticians should not feel threatened. So you have hired a new team member. Tell us more about when you made that decision and why.
So I sent out an email newsletter to the NSB of Columbia University. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for engineers who are interested in being a part of my company. I went into my spiel and then I heard back from one person and this was the person I heard back from. And she was excited about it and she'd already graduated. So she actually had access to their email because she was an officer and she'd recently graduated from the engineering program at Columbia. So I was really, really excited because she was a graduate, she was interested, and she, was going to grad school. So part-time wouldn't be an issue. And it's just that, I was ready to hire somebody because I thought, I do kind of want someone else who can think outside of me. You can be the best thinker in the world, but I kind of wanted somebody with their input. So it's not even she's not an employee in the traditional sense of she just does a specific function. We talk, we run things by each other. And I'm hoping at some point we can, get to, a final, she won't be an employee. It'll be even more, maybe equity based. But I'm really excited about having someone to bounce ideas off of and have an engineer who, understands, the different technologies that are happening. She works in manufacturing, so she understands things. She does a lot of my project management at the time. and is doing it now, currently. Right. So, I mean, it's just, it's just been a blessing. She wasn't always getting paid, so.
How did you convince someone to work for you when they weren't always getting paid?
Well, I mean, I think it's so crazy. So she's not the only engineer that I've heard from. That was just through Columbia, but I've gotten lots of emails from a lot of biomedical engineers. I've gotten from women of color. I'm so excited. So like, it's just crazy. So it's like, you're getting so many qualified Black women who are reaching out to me to ask me if I'm hiring. And that's just like, it's just a crazy experience to me. But in order to do that, I think they have to be motivated by the mission. So I think they see the gap, they know the gap just as well as I do. And so they're really interested in it, and they know, they have the faith that it'll go somewhere. And, if you present yourself as honest and you try to be as forthcoming as you can, and, share what you can. I mean, off the bat in the front, I was like, hey girl, I am putting this money into building this hair removal laser. So I don't know that it's going to happen immediately as far as like payment. And she was like, I am okay with that. And, we'll work towards that. So, I think those are the type of people you want on your team. Like,
for sure.
If I couldn't find something for her, I mean, if she didn't have a specialty already, I would have tried to find something for her, because it's like, you want people who believe in your mission to be, working with you.
And I'm so happy for you. So how are you juggling as far as support for customer service? You are a one woman show for so long, and people, it's funny, the more information you give at times, it can feel like the more questions you get. So how are you balancing customer service these days?
So I think I talked about this before, the tip of like, if you can do it in 10 minutes, do it now. So like I have that Tideo app that's still on my phone. So it's like I get text messages about when people are, on the website and have questions immediately. So if someone has a question, I just answer it. If somebody sends me an email, like a customer service email, I try to just answer it. So that's what I've been doing. I wanted to make sure that I brought this up to you though, because like it can be you can get your emotions wrapped up in your customer service. Like, I don't know. Like, I never thought that I would, because I actually did do customer service at some point. I don't remember when, but maybe high school or something. But like, when it's your own company, you're like, you don't know, this is good. Like, you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not using it right. Like, right. You like feel so like, I don't know, you just get so wrapped up in it.
You're invested.
Yeah, you're invested. And so like, I mean, at some point, that's like one of the first things that I want to get rid of from me, is like the distance between me and like the customer service. Because it's like, even when things are late, like let's say I sent something out on time, a device or through a carrier, because of coronavirus, they kind of do what they want. And so like, I'll get like emails that, hey, I didn't get this, or I didn't get that. And I'm like, I sent it. Like, it's kind of like, when you deal with small businesses, people expect the same. I provide them the same service I can as Amazon, but I am not Amazon. And so like, I can't just send out like, I know, it's like, that's money. That's literally lots of money out of my pocket every single time. Right. So it's like, you don't just get to report it and say like, if they're taking a long time, send me another one. It's like, that's how it works. Like I have to like file a claim, make sure that it's actually lost. Like, let me see if I can try to get some money back from this before I just like send out duplicate things. So I don't know. It's just like taking some distance from it. It would be great. But I'm thankful to the pandemic for being home all the time, where if something pops up, I can actually like reply to it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. Oh, Amazon has spoiled us so much. It's like, I have to check myself, because when I order from another website and I'm like, and I go to track it, I'm like, why can I find it? Or like, like, I want this now, but that's not realistic, especially during this pandemic, So before we jump into the lightning round, let us know really, what's been the biggest challenge since expanding your product offerings and just since starting Bell 51?
I'd say the biggest challenge since expanding my offerings is keeping everything in stock at the same time. If I'm out of one thing, then I have that one in stock, and then it's just a back and forth. And I would love to have everything in stock at the same time. So I'm working on that. I don't know. I think it's just a constant challenge of believing in yourself, and taking those steps. It's like, it's motivation and self-confidence. I think those are the two things that are like the most challenging. It's like going through these barriers, even though if you work hard enough, you have to have faith that if you work hard enough that you'll get through these tough times versus, immediate like release. Like you're like, okay, I just put 2 hours in, so now I make $100. Like that's not how it works. And so, getting over that kind of immediate, sense of feedback or positive feedback is something that, I'm trying to get accustomed to in business in general. You're not like overnight successful.
Yeah. And how are you working through that challenge? Because we don't talk enough about how much mental strength you need, how much you have to keep affirming yourself and speaking life into yourself as you face challenges and as you're tempted to doubt yourself. We all go through it. How do you deal with it?
So I'm still in the process of dealing with it. Like I do talk to myself and try to reaffirm myself often. And sometimes I repress it. I think I repress a lot of the negative emotions. I'm like, it's just not something that you can deal with at this moment. Like self-doubt has to come later. Like just don't talk to that part of yourself today. Like if you hear her creeping up, like ignore her because, she's not going to be helpful today. So
is she ever helpful? But I know what you mean. I think I saw a quote somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, it's that same mentality of, oh, nope, we don't have time for you today. When that thought pops up, like we literally do not have time for you. Like talk to that negative thought. Like it's a person. Like here you go again. Here you go. Like this is gonna help anything.
Yeah, like where and I mean the thing is that I think being critical does help you sometimes. So it's like I think being able to figure out how to filter in the thoughts that are criticism that could help you, and then like blocking out the things. It's like, so then what are we gonna do about that? We can't do nothing about that. So what are you talking about? Okay, go over somewhere. Like you have to like filter it because sometimes it can be helpful. That same voice can be helpful, and sometimes not. So.
Sometimes not. And one last question. So we touched on video a bit, but before we jump into the lightning round, tell us what is actually working in marketing right now? What is responsible for Bell 51's growth, continued growth?
I think the thing that's most so I think it's a couple of things. I think it's the communication. I think it's the communication with the customers, like when they're asking questions. I noticed that the more that I was proactive about like questions that people had, or just even getting to and getting into more detail and just being like very warm and friendly with people, the more that they were inclined to buy because they knew that any questions in the future or any problems they had, that I'd be there to reply to those. And then another thing is marketing. So increasing that marketing and the efforts towards marketing on both Instagram and Facebook. And I'm trying to think, I think the last thing would be these next steps that I've been taking, like the esthetician program, and then like the skin device tool. Like those are things that I'm trying to do preemptively, like figure out how to answer people's questions before they have them or vocalize them.
Yep. So what it sounds like is you're doing a lot of trying to be one step ahead of the customer. Like, the common objections and you're trying to get in front of them so that there will not be an objection at the time they're on that cart page. They're ready to add to cart and check out because all their questions are answered.
Exactly. And that's still a process. Like I'm still, learning that. So,
well, keep on going. I continue to be so proud of you. And let's do a quick lightning round before we wrap up this season's Entrepreneur in Residence. Number one, what is a resource that is currently helping you the most in your side hustle that you can share with the Side Hustle Pro audience?
A plugin that I have been using, I talked about Tidio last time. There's one called OmniSend. That's an email, it's an email kind of, not a provider, but it helps you with your email blast. And basically, it's just been helping me get out the word. Like anytime I want to schedule my automation or have my campaigns, it just makes everything really easy. The filters that I can put on are really, really specific. So if somebody buys a product, but then also interacts with a specific page and all of that, I can dwindle down all the way to that and send out, automation to them. So I just appreciate the tool. I mean, I'm sure there's a million that do the same thing, but Omnisend's been really helpful for me.
Oh, love it. Alrighty. What has been the best investment that you've made in your business so far this year?
I think I'm gonna just claim it. This investment in this hair removal laser is the best thing this year. It is going to be the best thing this year, and next year, and moving forward.
And never. Number 3, what's one of your hacks for being productive and not procrastinating when you got like a million jobs, as you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I talk about it, but doing things immediately. And then also, so honestly, there's this action plan that I've been using, which is yours. The Side Hustle Pro Go-Getter action plan was really, really helpful for me. So I've been using that, and it helps me to stay consistent and, plan out what I need to do.
Okay. All right. See, guys, I'm telling you guys, it works. And I did not pay her to say that. Number 4, what is a non-negotiable part of your day these days?
I think I'm starting to take my evenings back. So I'd wake up early in the morning, have my cup of coffee, and work until like 9, and then watch like one Netflix show and almost go to bed. And then, but now I think sometime after 7, I kind of make sure that I have some time to sit and just like be, whether it's like making dinner, which is now like a luxury, like a thing that is something that I can do that makes me happy, which it didn't always feel that way. But so, just having like a couple of hours before I go to bed versus like having an hour to 30 minutes. I'm trying to see if I could spend some time with my boyfriend and even having phone conversations. Taking back your time, just a little bit of it.
Number 5, what is your parting advice for fellow side hustlers who are juggling a bunch of things, but really want to continue working on their business?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they don't have like 3 jobs or something, but they maybe have a kid and 2 jobs or something. And I think, that do first. It's like I think someone said build the plane while you're flying it, like something like that. Like figure it out, like while you're doing it. Like just do it. Just take that leap and just do it, because it helps you to make progress. You can be critical of yourself later, but even if it's like, oh, I need to do this for my my job, do that immediately, because it'll free up some time for your the other side hustles that you have and things like that. So just do it. Don't think about it. Don't analyze it.
Oh, I think that's such a perfect note to end this series. We've had 3 wonderful check-ins with Lisa of Bell 51 and followed her for a year as the entrepreneur in residence. And if there's anything that you could take away from her experience, I hope it is that just do. We're not saying just do as in quit everything and just focus on your side hustle, but just do in the sense that you could type up a million business plans, a million goals, a million vision plans, spreadsheets to plot it all out, but you really won't start to learn until you place that first order for a product, get it back, and start working on those prototypes and working it through with the manufacturers, put it up for sale, see what the customers say. Like, you literally will learn nothing until you just do. So before we go, where can people connect with you and Bell 51 after this episode?
They can visit us at bell51.com. They can go to our Instagram at bell51co. Our Facebook group is bell51. And you can also email me, Lisa, at bell51.com.
All right, guys, there you have it. Head over to sidehustlepro.co for all of the show notes from this episode, including all the helpful resources that Lisa mentioned in this episode. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.